the depth of attention she was giving to them. Quite quickly, I realized that Catherine was the kind of reader every writer hopes for, someone who reads for content, certainly, but who is also engaging with questions from her own life as she reads. Before we began to talk in depth about the books, and long before we began to talk about the project that evolved into this book, Catherine was allowing herself to read her own life and experiences from a broader perspective, using my books as her catalyst. And not only was she reading and thinking, she was also making changes that she believed were enhancing her life in new and very welcome ways. Over several months, Catherine continued to feed back to me glimpses of the practical effect the books were having on her life. She was seeing things differently. She was responding to life more confidently. She was making choices more easily. She was feeling lighter and happier. Her passion for literature and her training in reading books closely meant that she was also sensitive to the art of writing, to how information is conveyed as well as to the content. That breadth of appreciation made those conversations enormously rewarding for me. They allowed me to see the span of my books freshly. And because she was talking so openly and honestly about her life, while she was also talking about my books, I began to know Catherine better and to trust her instincts. At some point in this dialogue, fitted between songs at choir practice, or occasional phone calls in the midst of two extremely busy, overcommitted lives as working mothers, Catherine made a fairly startling request. Many people, she asserted, would be or could be as supported by my work as she had been, but might see themselves as too busy to read an entire book from cover to cover. Her generation particularly, Catherine suggested, had become used to wanting and getting information in highly focused, highly accessible chunks. They wanted depth. They needed depth. They were hungry for depth, but they wanted it fast. Was it possible to provide depth at speed? Was it possible for me to present some of what I had researched and discovered through my psychotherapy training and years of writing, workshops and teaching in a more concentrated, episodic form? Was it possible to give readers the essentials of what I believe to be the most useful principles and actions, psychologically and spiritually? And could I do it in such a way that this would go to the heart of people's lives as they ran, sometimes breathlessly, between work, love, family responsibilities, social concerns, public demands, and private dreams? Holding this book in your hands, you will know that the answer was, eventually, yes. But the journey turned out to be more complex and richer than I could possibly have imagined. When Catherine put this idea to me, I was intrigued. My own two beloved children were becoming adults. I know and admire the generation younger than Catherine's, and was well aware that in this information age, the ways in which knowledge is shared are at least as crucial as what that knowledge is. The possibility of reaching out in new ways to new readers was attractive. Yet I was also aware that over my many years of speaking publicly, readers often present me with copies of my own books to sign that have copious notes in the margins. Those readers, too, who have in part loved my earlier books because they are more leisurely and internal, might, I thought, also welcome a book that reviewed the more familiar essential questions while also moving on to new territory. A different format would give me a chance to look very directly at the most persistent issues and questions that run through our lives. I would need to be clear and direct about what was and is most useful. Yet I still also have the instincts of a novelist. Some things need to be said